Hello friends, in this session I am going to take up for discussion yet another important parliamentary committee, that is Joint Parliamentary Committee, which is popular in the name of JPC. There is no need for me to tell you that Joint Parliamentary Committee, that is JPC, is an example of an ad hoc committee within the parliamentary functioning of India. And since it is an ad hoc committee, it should be very clear for all of you that it is constituted on a special occasion, it is constituted for a specific purpose, and when that work which has been assigned to the committee is completed, this committee will automatically cease to exist. Okay, so I would just like you all to remember that Joint Parliamentary Committee, JPC, is an example of an ad hoc committee, So it is constituted on a special occasion for a specific purpose. But the interesting question is when we see constitution of JPC. Because if we turn the pages of parliamentary history of India, on few occasions till date, we have seen constitution of JPC. So JPC is constituted, right? JPC is constituted to study or to look into or to inquire or to probe, right? Or to probe subject matters or cases which are of national importance, and the Parliament of India, which is the supreme legislative body in the country, has developed a very strong feel that in the larger interest of the country, independently the Parliament should know on that particular subject matter. So when Parliament will develop a very strong feel that it should study on its own, it should inquire on its own, it should probe on its own, it should look into on its own on a subject matter which is of national importance, which is of great importance, which is of paramount importance, then in such cases, what can be constituted? Joint Parliamentary Committee can be constituted. So this is very important for you to understand that two things are there, that the case, the subject matter, the scam, the fraud is of national importance. And then Parliament as an institution has developed a very strong feel that in the larger interest of the country, independently the Parliament should probe, independently the Parliament should study, independently the Parliament should look into, independently the Parliament should inquire, then in such cases JPC is constituted. Now, how can JPC be constituted? When it is constituted is what I answered, how it can be constituted. So JPC can be constituted through two modes. First mode, motion to this effect adopted by first house, and this is agreed upon by second house. Okay. So a motion to this effect will be brought in one house. There will be discussion in the house. Thereafter, the motion will be adopted by the house, and then the motion will go to other house. And if the other house of the parliament will also agree to that motion which was adopted by the first house, then JPC can be constituted. This can be one mode. But what is the limitation in this mode? This is possible only when the two houses are in session. Let us suppose that the two houses of parliament, if not in session, then how JPC will be constituted? Second mode of constitution of JPC, second mode of constitution of JPC is agreement reached between presiding officers of two houses through written communication. So, presiding officer of one house will write a letter to the presiding officer of another house, and in that letter will propose that I, being the presiding officer of this house, is of the opinion that there should be constitution of JPC, and this is the feel of most of the members in my house, so you please agree. Now, when this letter is received by the presiding officer of the second house, and when he accepts the proposal and will write a letter back to the presiding officer of the first house that I do hereby agree to your proposal that there should be a constitution of JPC. Now, this can also be one method, one way through which JPC can be constituted. So, there are two ways in which JPC can be constituted. Now, whenever JPC is to be constituted, in JPC, right, in JPC, the strength will be decided on the basis of subject matter which is to be studied, which is to be inquired, which is to be probed, which is to be looked into. Okay. But one thing what is very important about the composition of JPC, in JPC representation will be given to both the House of Parliament. Representation to both houses of Parliament. Representation will be given to both the houses of Parliament, meaning in JPC members will be taken from both the house, that is Lok Sabha as well as Rajya Sabha, and whatever may be the number of, whatever may be the total membership of the JPC, one formula which is very important for you to remember, when it comes to Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, this is what you should remember. The ratio between Lok Sabha to Rajya Sabha is 2:1. Okay, so if 30 members are to be taken in JPC, it means 20 will be from Lok Sabha and 10 members will be from the Rajya Sabha. So very important, we maintain the ratio of 2:1 between Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha while constituting JPC, but it's very much mandatory that representation in JPC will be given to both the houses of Parliament, and all parties, right, all parties, and of course to extent possible and feasible, right, they are given representation in JPC, based on their representation in Parliament. Okay. So how many members from different political parties will be the part of that JPC depends on how much is the representation of that particular party in both the houses of parliament put together. So let us suppose, right, let us suppose that one political party, BJP, has 60% membership. When we put Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha together, then 60% members in the JPC will be from BJP. This is what is the simple, right? This is what is the simple way in which JPC is constituted. And to ensure this, right, to ensure this, what is there? That if need will arise, then members will be, right, all parties will be asked to nominate members, and they will be allotted the number to nominate members based on their representation in two houses of parliament. Okay, so this is something which you should remember. Now, no member from Council of Ministers can be included in the JPC. They cannot be included in the JPC. So again, the same thing. There can never be overlapping between COM, that is Council of Ministers, and JPC. Meaning, a minister is not eligible to be included in the JPC, and if a JPC member later is included in the ministry, with immediate effect, he will lose the membership of JPC. Right? He will lose the membership of JPC. So this is, right, this is something which you should remember. And JPC functions under the overall supervision, command of Speaker of the Lok Sabha. JPC reports to Speaker of the Lok Sabha. JPC will submit its report to the Speaker of the Lok Sabha. This is what you should remember. These are some of the general provisions related with Joint Parliamentary Committee. Now some special provisions, right? Special provisions related with Joint Parliamentary Committee. Now the special provision is that JPC can obtain evidence of experts, public bodies, individuals, or even interested parties, and that too suo motu, or on the request, right, or on the request made by the party concerned. What you need to understand here, this is what makes JPC different from all other parliamentary committees. So, in the probe related with the subject matter, in the inquiry related with the subject matter, while studying the subject matter, if need arises, JPC can seek the experts' advice and views. It can seek the advice and views from expert organizations within the country, even from outside India. They will write a letter that we need your advice on this particular matter because we are inquiring or we are, studying this particular subject matter. They can take evidence from any individuals, any interested parties. If somebody wants to bring something to the notice of JPC, then JPC will give that person an appointment, and then he will appear before JPC and will say whatever he wants to say. So this is where JPC has, difference in comparison with other parliamentary committees. They can seek advice from experts. They can seek, support from experts organizations, any other public bodies, individuals, and interested parties. This is very, very important. Now, another important thing, right? Another important thing, JPC can ask government for any paper, file or document related with subject matter or case which is being probed or is being inquired. Probed or is being inquired. Any paper, any file, any document, they can ask any ministry, and they can ask that this should be presented before JPC. And normally, no ministry, no department, no organization can deny the file or the document or the papers which are being asked, right, which are being asked by the JPC. Only, right, only if ministry concerned, that organization concerned feel that this information can be prejudicial to the safety, unity, integrity, sovereignty of the country, then only they can deny. Otherwise, they cannot deny. So very wide is the amplitude of power enjoyed by JPC as far as asking any document or file or papers from any particular ministry concerned. Okay. Another important thing about JPC. Normally, JPC will not call any minister to provide clarification, and no parliamentary committee can call minister in person to provide clarification. But in JPC, if a special need arises, then they can even call a minister to provide clarification. So this is something which makes JPC different from most other parliamentary committees. Okay, so JPC can call ministers to provide clarification, okay, only in special needs. Normally, they will also not call any minister, but if there is a special need, if they feel that only if minister will appear before JPC and will give clarification, then only this matter can reach to logical completion as far as probe or study is concerned, then in such case, JPC has the power even to call the minister, which is not the power with any other parliamentary committee. They cannot call ministers, because parliamentary committee ministers will speak in the parliament. Parliamentary committees can call departmental secretaries for clarification, but JPC in special needs can call even ministers to provide clarification. Another important provision related with JPC. If JPC has issued summon and has asked any particular individual to appear before it, and if that individual will not respond properly to the summon of JPC, it amounts to contempt of parliament, for which that person may be punished by parliament. So if summon is issued by JPC, it is to be responded and respected, and whosoever has been summoned, they have to appear before the JPC based on the time and the date on which the JPC has asked that individual to appear before JPC. But my friends, all these provisions to great extent get nullified. I am using a harsh word, nullified, when I will tell you the last provision related with JPC. And you know what is the last provision? The findings of JPC, the recommendations of JPC, the suggestions of JPC is not binding on Parliament. It only has persuasive effect, but it's not binding on Parliament. This you should remember, that findings of JPC, recommendations of JPC, suggestions by JPC is not binding on Parliament. The two houses of Parliament will discuss the report of JPC and they have full freedom to agree or to disagree. Now the bigger question is that if it's not binding, then what is the importance? Even then it has, it holds a lot of importance and relevance. You know why? This is giving a feel to Parliament that it can probe, it can inquire, it can look into any matter of national importance independently. And this is definitely giving a strong feel to Parliament that it exercises control over the executive and government. And it's also giving a feel to the people of our country that government is answerable to Parliament, and Parliament is like a watchdog as far as functioning of government is concerned, which is making our parliamentary democracy very vibrant in nature. So though recommendations of JPC is not binding on Parliament, yet the provision that JPC can be constituted is an important provision, as it is establishing Parliament as a watchdog, for functionings of government. So this is what you need to know about JPC. If we turn the pages of history in India, then on few occasions we have seen constitutions of JPC. If you can see, for the first time in the year 1987, a JPC was constituted to inquire the famous or infamous, whatever you may say, Bofors scandal. Then in 1992, for the second time, JPC was constituted, and the matter was Harshad Mehta stock market scam. Third time was in the year 2001. That was Ketan Parikh share market scam. Share market. So first time when Rajiv Gandhi was the Prime Minister of India, second time when PV Narasimha Rao was the Prime Minister, third time when Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji was the Prime Minister, fourth time in 2003. I hope at least some of you might be knowing about this. All of a sudden, Baba Ramdev ji, made allegations that the soft drinks, that is Coke and Pepsi, they contain pesticides and other harmful chemicals which have ill impact on children health. Okay, so 2003 JPC was constituted on the issue of soft drink pesticide issue. Okay, then was the 2000, then was the 2011 when on 2G spectrum, case, JPC was constituted. In 2013, JPC was constituted, but it was not able to complete the probe. That was VVIP chopper scam. hope you might be aware about this. When government decided to purchase Augusta Westland, right, VVIP helicopter, there were serious issues related with the price, and even people questioned why there is a need to go for such a high-end, helicopter for VVIP movements. So 2013 on VVIP, then 2015, land acquisition amendment bill, land acquisition amendment bill. So when in 2015, the government led by Narendra Modi decided to amend the important law which was passed in the year 2013, and that law was the Right to Fair Compensation and Transparency in Land Acquisition, Rehabilitation, Resettlement Act 2013, that is famous in the name of Land Acquisition Act of 2013. So when some amendments were suggested, that was the time when JPC was constituted, and last time JPC was constituted in 2016, when an attempt was made by Parliament to amend NRC, National Register for Citizens, NRC bill. Later on, it was passed only when this government was voted back to power after general elections of 2019. Then again, when Amit Shah became the Home Minister, NRC bill was, amendment bill was brought, and it was passed by the Parliament. But first time when it was tabled in the Parliament, it was decided to be referred to Joint Parliamentary Committee. So these are the occasions till date in the history of parliamentary functioning of India when we have seen the constitution of JPC. So this is all about